were like, I'm there to have fun. Yeah. And all those people that were like me, sitting there, standing there, up against the wall, being afraid to come off the wall like a high school dance, that was not acceptable to me. And to this day, it's still not acceptable to me because I go get them.
Yeah.
Right. What? Are you broken? I can't dance. Tonight you can dance. And I make them come off the wall. I don't care if they're moving back and forth, but I want them to know it's okay. We don't bite. You're going home with your significant other. I don't want anybody to walk in the shoes that I walked in because it freaking sucked.
Welcome to Normalizing Non-Monogamy, the podcast where we interview incredible people from across the entire spectrum of non-monogamy to hear their funny, sexy, and fascinating stories as they take us on their journey. We always strive to bring guests on the show who have a healthy and positive approach to non-monogamy.
However, everyone approaches it a little differently. And at its core, our show is about hearing, highlighting, and learning from the different experiences and approaches people have. With that in mind, it is important to remember that the views and opinions expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect those of our own.
So sit back, relax, and just accept the fact that your time with us will be spent in an awkward turmoil of laughter and arousal. We should also let you know that this podcast will hopefully include some explicit language.
If that kind of thing offends you, we suggest you keep listening until it no longer does. If you're under 18, you either need to stop listening or go get your parents and you can listen as a family. The choice is yours. Enjoy!
Hi everyone, welcome to episode 14. We're excited today. We have an interview with a couple, Ray and Dee, and they have a lifestyle swinging club that they run in Ohio.
Yeah, and we just wanted to do a quick disclaimer. They're not going to really talk too much about their club at all. The reason that we're having them on is that they're throwing a party called a pendulum party, which is modeled after a party that was sort of originated by some podcaster friends of ours, By the By, which is a party dedicated to making sure that bi men and bi women have equal sort of opportunity to play and explore. So it's our show. We don't want to sit here and run ads for tons of different people, but they're doing a really cool thing. Yeah. And we want to really support that because we don't think that gets enough attention in the community. And so we are going to let them talk about that. They only talk about it for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. They tell us all about how it came to be and what the event's going to be like. And it's a really cool event. So
and the rest of the podcast is their story.
Yeah, and which is also a really awesome story, and they're really fun people, so you're going to want to listen.
Yes. Also, we realized when we were editing the podcast that they didn't actually say the date. So the date for the Pendulum 1.0 party that they talk about is July 15th, 2018. You can go to our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com, and find the show notes there, and all of the links to their website and the information on the party is located there.
Also on the website is going to be a list of all of the episodes of By the By podcast that discuss what a pendulum party is and how they run their parties in Australia. So,
all the information should hopefully be very easy to find.
Again, that's normalizingnonmonogamy.com.
And if you can't find that for some reason, feel free to find us on Twitter under the screen name NNM Podcast and ask us. We can send you to the right place.
But imagine if you can figure out how to spell normalizing non-monogamy.
Hey, you know what? I'm just throwing our Twitter handle out there too.
All
Trying
right.
to spread the love.
Let's jump into the interview and we'll see you guys on the other side. Whoopsies, me again. I forgot there was one other very important thing that I wanted to mention. We've been getting some emails that our show is turning into a whole bunch of just heterosexual swinging couples.
Which there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, considering we're that.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But what we wanted to make clear was that was sort of what we had to start out with. That was the people we knew, and that was the people that reached out to us first. But starting in about 2 weeks, we're going to basically be alternating between poly swinger, more or less from here on out.
That's our goal.
Yeah, we've got some awesome interviews that we've done with some single poly people, some poly couples, some just all sorts of great stuff. So we hear you, and we're doing something about it, and it's going to be awesome. So stick around. And
be patient with us.
And now for real. Also, if you got beef and you want to hear more poly stuff because you're a poly person, come on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Now, for real, the last time.
Let's get on with this interview.
Let's do this fucking interview.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for taking some time out of your Friday night to sit down and chat with us. We've got a really exciting events coming up on your behalf. Talk a little bit about your pendulum party here in a few minutes, but before we do you guys mind introducing yourselves, a little bit of background of who you are, and we'll jump into the party and then your full story after that.
Sounds good. I'm Dee.
And I'm Ray, and we are the owners of Club Euphoria in Ohio, here in Northwest Ohio. We've been running Euphoria for about 5 years, hosting parties, house parties, hotel takeovers, at bars, meet and greets, all kinds of lifestyle-related activities and parties, and that's us. That's what we do.
Cool. So do you guys mind giving the listeners a little bit of background as far as like how long you've been together and approximate ages?
I will be 46.
I'm 34.
And I picked him up in a bar. Believe that one. And when I met him, I told him, we were both going through a divorce, that I was using him for sex because you didn't want all my baggage. And 7 years later, we're still not married, but I'm still using him for sex.
So
it
worked out.
We did get engaged. It did. It worked out. It worked out. We got engaged back in March, and we still haven't even set a date. So.
Well, congratulations anyway.
Yeah,
That's very exciting.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah. We've been in the lifestyle for about 6 years probably now. 5-6 years. I don't know. We quit counting after so long. But it kind of, the reason, the way we migrated into the lifestyle was because in my first marriage, the first person I ever slept with was my first wife. So when I got divorced at 26 or 27, whatever it was, I had still only ever slept with one person in my entire life. And she was the second person that I slept with. We met, and we got it on, and it was great. And but after a few months, I was like, I feel like I need more experiences, and I need to, there's just, I need to do more. I mean, that was kind of one of the problems in my first marriage was I didn't have any other experiences, and I felt like I was missing, I don't know, something that was out there, or just, right. So that's kind of how we migrated to the lifestyle. As I told her, I love you, I want to stay with you, but I also feel like personally I need to experience other things and see what else is going on out there, and for my own curiosities and satisfactions and whatever. So that's kind of how we started in it, as looking for a single female as a third. And after about a month, we were like, well, this is not going to happen. We were like, okay, well, this is not as easy as it was supposed to be, So then we just kind of, we just jumped in full force and, met some couples and went on some dates. And, I guess the rest is history, so they say. And
Dee, it sounds like it didn't bother you too much. Maybe it seems like you were on board pretty early.
I was, because he's pretty special to me, and he came home from work one day, and I just told him. So I created us this profile on SLS, and let's see what happens. And I wasn't too sure, and man, let me tell you, that drama, that ugly green monster, I had it bad. Oh my God, the jealousy. Oh my God, I was horrible.
So even though you were just using him for sex, he was still special for you. Huh?
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
I'm like a bad penny. You can't get rid of me once. Once I got my claws in, it turned. Yeah, she caught feels right away.
Yeah. Whatever. But I wanted him to experience more, and I wanted to do it with him because, like he said, he'd never experienced life. He came from a very religious upbringing. Me, not so much. I'm wild as hell. So I had lived. He had not even begun to live. And I was afraid with him soiling his oats that he was going to leave me.
Sowing.
I
don't think I'm soiling my oats.
Well, you've soiled them suckers, let me tell you. I've seen him get pretty damn dirty. Don't even play.
Wow, that escalated quickly.
Let's drink more. But I was afraid he was going to find something better. So I got very jealous. It was bad. And it was not an easy start. I mean, it was rough for us. And there was a lot of fighting and carrying on, and we broke up for a little bit, but we worked it out. And
it's definitely been a learning process for us, kind of. So that's why we kind of do some of the informational stuff and have seminars and try to help some new people coming into the lifestyle and people who are curious, because, we kind of had to learn things the hard way. And it, for a while, like she said, it cost us our relationship for a little while. So,
There wasn't all these podcasts. I think there was Life on the Swing Set and maybe two more out there.
There certainly wasn't all the information.
There was no information out there, and it was like, damn. So, we went to Desire, and we met another club owner. Okay. And he was like, you guys have what it takes. You guys need to go to Ohio. That's a dead market. And he told us, I want you to do pretty much A, B, and C. And so he goes, here's my number. Don't give it to nobody. So we came home. I said, honey, I want to do this. He's like, no, we're not doing this. I'm like, oh, come on. It'll be fun. So I roped one of my lifestyle friends into doing it. And our first meet and greet, he had to work. And I was messaging him. We had 100 and some people show up. Our first meet and greet. I was like, what the hell? Our second one, we ended up taking over a bar. And so I messaged him and I'm like, so this is what happened. He goes, well, you don't need my help. You got what it takes. And I'm like, no, I need more. How, why? He's like, you'll figure it out. Good luck. And
this was the other club owner.
Yeah, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
Just like you guys learned your podcasting from fellow podcasters, we had to learn club, etiquette and meet and greets from other club owners and other business people. And it was not easy, but we're still here and we're having fun.
Yeah, and that was 6 years ago, you said?
Yeah, it'll be 6 years ago in August we had our first party.
It sounds like it was pretty much right after you guys started swinging.
It was
wasn't that long.
Wasn't that long.
We kind of went to some other parties and we had fun and I don't know, just around the area, some of the parties we went to, we felt like I didn't want to disparage anyone, but just felt like we could do better. I mean, honestly,
I think that's
you want
fair.
an honest answer. We were like, I really feel like we can be pretty entertaining, especially if we've had a couple of drinks. And and I can make a lot of different things. I made a lot of our equipment and a lot of our play furniture. I made our light up dance floor. So I've actually made a lot of our club apparatuses and stuff. And I said, we could get going on this. We could do this. And she said, I really wasn't on board right at the very beginning. And then all these people showed up at that first meet and greet, and I was kind of blown away. And wow, this is
right.
I thought there was going to be like us and the waitress and like two couples were going to show up.
Yeah, because when we started, where we had it here in Toledo, at the time in Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan, there were at that time, I think, 13 other lifestyle clubs.
Okay.
So to speak, everybody fighting for territory. It's almost like a biker gang, so to speak. Everybody wanted territory. Everybody wanted the people, and it's not easy here. It's not easy in Michigan, but you just gotta keep going. You gotta keep pushing and keep moving forward. And now there is, that I know of, in Southeast Michigan, one party.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's pretty much us. You see like some littler parties, but there's only a few signups. We're it. This is all. It's just us now, and it's like, oh boy.
Yeah.
That's kind of the nature of the beast, though.
Yes.
In the lifestyle, clubs, people, whatever, it all comes and goes. It's an ebb and flow.
Ebb and flow like the tide.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to say that, We definitely want to get back to more of your story, but the one of the things that really caught our attention when you guys said hi on Twitter was you guys are a club, but you're also doing something that not a lot of other clubs are doing, and you're throwing a party in 2 or 3 weeks here that's very unique, and I was hoping you guys could talk a little bit about that and sort of the origin of that party and how you guys are going about it and how it's looking for you.
Pendulum.
Yep.
1.0.
Yep.
I'm a huge podcast listener. If you guys don't know, I'm a Twitter whore. I love Twitter. I love interacting with anybody and everybody that's podcast related because you all have taught me so much, and there's no other way for me to pay it forward to you. So, By the By podcast is probably my third favorite podcast of all of the ones I listen to, and I'm so intrigued with Bradford and Angela and their bisexuality and the rawness of it. And so I get so turned on when I hear them talk about their pendulum parties and how they've gone, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So I reached out to them and it's like, hey, I follow you guys. I don't know if you know who I am, but I want to do a pendulum party. Can you help me? And they were just like totally blown away. Like, are you serious? And I'm like, I just think it's a great thing that you guys do. And we've got a lot of bi men that have started circling our club like sharks in the water. And I said, in the past few months, we've had multiple bi men sign up and come to our events. And they've approached me and asked me if Ray was bi, and I'm like, no, he's not, but thank you. And then they want to know, is bi play accepted at your house parties? And it took me for a surprise because that's never been asked, which it's always okay for bi women, right? But the stereotype with bi men is, ew, no, we don't want to see that. So I had to choose my words very carefully so not to offend this gentleman. And what I told him was, I'm going to be honest with you. If you go out there right now and start bi play, the mood is going to stop. And the men will probably run and go, I'm not seeing this shit. They'll probably pack their stuff up and leave because there's a lot of homophobia in this lifestyle, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. I said, but there's a lot of us women out there that will be busting through the door because we want to see that. Because I want to see that because I like to see that. And I said, but if you want to take it to one of the private rooms, have at it. But then again, tell me because I want to be in the corner watching because I'm I'm a creeper like that. And, we laughed about it. And I thought, and then it kind of bothered me. Like, it's good for the women, but it's not okay for the men. Yeah. And it's just a lot of that. It's been bothering me. So when I reached out to him, I said, can you help me? I'm like, can you help me? I have this club. Can you help me? Yeah.
So just to clarify real quick, the pendulum party is a party where bi men and bi women are both equally accepted, and bi play is allowed everywhere and anywhere between anybody and everybody, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Just for anybody that's not, the third favorite podcast is By the By.
Yeah, I was going to say anything that anybody that's not familiar with that.
And just to clarify, we're the first two.
Yeah, yes. No. Exactly. So I reached out and they were shocked, and he's like, listen to our first, few pendulum podcasts, and I did. I went back and I listened to, at the time, all 5 of them. He's like, if Brad said, if you have any questions, just ask. And so I started asking around. We host our meet and greets at a gay bar where they hold drag shows. So I started asking the gay men at the bar, are you gay? Are you bi? I want to hold this pendulum party. And some men didn't know what it was. And so I said, those that swing both ways. And I got a huge response back from them. Oh, cool. And then I asked another female friend what she thought, and she's like, well, that's interesting because I've hosted educational classes on this very subject. And I'm like, shut up. So with her help, and she's very active in the FetLife community and in the bi community with bi men especially. She's going to give the educational part of it because I am not educated enough in this. So I want to learn from her. Mm-hmm. We're just going to talk about, safety and, cleanliness, what to do before, what to do after. So I messaged By the Buyback and said, I'm going to do this. We're going to call it Pendulum 1.0, and not to take away from your name, but still give you credit.
Right.
All of their episodes are listed on our website so that people can go back and listen. And then because this party's turning out to be, the informational part's turning out to be a lot bigger than we thought it was going to be, she messaged me earlier, and off of her site where she's listing it, she got 13 signups. And the last I counted, I think I had 17 couples,
wow.
6 male and 3 female that are signed up for this. And then it looks like, I'm like, okay, well, looks like we're going to have a Pendulum 2.0 where we take this into action.
Yeah.
Right. So to clarify, this first one is just an informational, like a meet and greet where there's going to be some learning and some presentations, it sounds like, by somebody who educates on this kind of thing.
Correct.
Okay.
Is it the same evening or is it a whole weekend?
It'll be a different night for the 2.0.
Okay.
Very cool. And for anybody in the area or who maybe wants to fly in for this event, when is it? Yeah, when is it and where is it? And I guess give people the quick details and then we'll jump back to your story.
Okay, awesome. The Pendulum 1.0 is in downtown Toledo. It's at they're now changing it to an alternative lifestyle bar because the swingers have taken over almost, and so it's become a lot of fun down there. The bar is called Mojo's, but we are taking over the drag stage for that day because that part of the bar is closed. So this is a private only event. You got to be on our list, just for the sake of keeping people's
and is it a free event?
It's $5.
Okay. Very
so
cool.
I can pay her for her expertise.
Yeah.
And so what we'll do for anybody who's scrambling to write all this down while they're driving, we're going to put all of the information in our show notes on our website and
a link to your website.
And a link to your website for Club Euphoria, so everybody can go get everything they need and they don't have to write anything down.
Yeah. Awesome.
So back to you guys. You started dating. You started swinging, then you got jealous, and then you decided to open a club.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the normal, normal road.
Well, there was
desire
too.
That's just how it happens,
So how did you, I guess, work through some of your jealousy?
The hot tub.
At Desire?
Well, the hot tub at Desire was some crazy shit happened.
That might have been the creation of some jealousy, actually. When we got Desire, actually, at Desire fixed us. It fixed a lot where we were broken, and we came home and we got a hot tub, and that we would just like lay it all out in the hot tub. And then once we got out of the hot tub, it was like once the lid closed, the subject was closed. Mm-hmm. And then we would go on. And then there was a lot of crying and a lot of fighting because I'm so afraid that somebody was going to take him away.
Right.
Yeah.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I think that's, that's what breeds the jealousy in a relationship is the insecurity. So it takes time. Especially when you jump into swinging fairly new in a relationship, you haven't had the time to build that trust and that, when you've been married to somebody for 30 years and you've officially reached that stage, like, you're not going anywhere. We're too invested. Nobody's leaving. Sure, go fuck Angie in the corner. I don't care. I know you're coming home with me. They're like, hey, when you've been dating for like 3 months and all of a sudden now you start opening up your relationship. So our relationship was still very new when we got into it, and we hadn't really built that trust with each other. So I think that kind of helped breed some of the jealousy, and so it just took some time and a lot of talking. Podcasts, some of the podcasts helped, and but mostly just sticking a toe in the water and a little bit, and then kind of back up, talk about it, maybe a little more, and then back up, and talk about it, and it progressed slowly. after we had to take those few steps back, you know, because we had issues, then it progressed very slowly, and we kind of just made our way back in.
It's interesting you say, too, though, that people who've been together for 20 or 30 years, that they're not worried about that. But I imagine on the flip side, they probably look at it and say, oh, well, do you not find me attractive anymore? And I bet it brings up a whole different set of insecurities. So
Right.
I mean,
right. Absolutely.
But I also wanted... Oh, go ahead.
You know, I think that when you've been together with someone for whatever, a long time, you know, they say variety is the spice of life. I think that is absolutely true. That
sure.
It you know, it doesn't have anything to do, for me anyway. The way I look at it is whether you're attracted. I mean, I'm always going to be attracted to Dee. You know, that's not just a physical attraction thing. That's a chemistry. It's a bond. You know, so that's deeper. But there's the physical attraction part is. I mean, I'm always going to look at women when they walk by. If they got a nice ass, I'm going to turn and look. I don't know. That's something inside me as a man, I guess. And it's nice to be, you know, in a relationship where you don't have to hide that, and you don't have to come home and fight because she caught you looking at somebody's ass as they, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So that whole variety thing, I think, even for couples who've been together for a really long time, we know a lot of couples actually who have been together for a long time, and they'll tell you right to your face that swinging saved their marriage.
Yeah.
That, you know, they were ready to get divorced, and the only reason that they were able to stay together is because they found this lifestyle and realized that they don't have to cheat on each other. They can do it together. You know, they can enjoy it with each other. So.
Yeah, we definitely heard that over the years too.
And I'm happy you said that, because one thing that you see a lot on the profiles that people write are, it's like they want to overemphasize how, like, our relationship's perfect. There's nothing wrong. We just want to, this is something we want to explore. And I think that's great for some people, but I don't see anything wrong with, if your relationship is struggling and you think that this is the thing that might fix that. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that. If you got into this and it made your relationship stronger, or it saved your relationship, I don't think there's any shame in that.
No.
And being able to say, hey, yeah, we went through some rough shit, and now we're doing this, and we love it, and we're stronger than ever. And
or even if it didn't save your relationship, I mean, it's something to try it, and maybe it didn't work, and you go your separate ways, but you would have done that anyway.
Right. So.
Right. Yeah. Usually, it's kind of a double-edged sword, I think. Because usually, the advice we give people is that if your relationship is going poorly and it's not in a good place, you probably should not be migrating into the lifestyle. That's the general, you know, that's the safe advice to give most people is, like, this is not, usually it's not going to save it.
It kind of holds a magnifying glass up to the problems.
Right. There's different situations for everybody, and a lot of those people are younger people who, you know, they think that they can jump into this. And I found that mostly the couples like I was speaking about, where they've told us that, you know, this saved their marriage, or it was people who've been together for a very long time. You know, they've been married 25 years, and they just needed a change. They needed to try something new. They were bored. They had no spice in their sex life anymore. So this, in that way, you know, that saved their relationship. Because I just don't want to throw that out there and be like everybody who's, you know, if all you do is argue with your girlfriend, you should go fuck other people together, and then everything will be okay.
Doesn't always work.
I was wondering if you could elaborate on how Desire, like you said, it fixed a lot of the problems that you were having, and we actually had a very similar revelation when we went to Desire. We weren't necessarily having tons of problems, but we were sort of on the verge of getting out of swinging because we were just sort of fed up with the environment.
Yeah, we had a lot of stressful stuff happen in our lives at that point too, and going to Desire just like kick-started our relationship again, and just it was an amazing week, and we came back from that like way more rejuvenated than we had been in years.
Mm-hmm. So if you could talk about your guys' experience, that'd be wonderful.
We were talking but living in different households. He had his, I had mine. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to go to Vegas. There was a big lifestyle event, you know, even though we weren't together anymore, and we deleted, you know, our profile. I created a single female one. And
so you guys had tried swinging, and this is during one of your breakups then?
Our breakup. And because I enjoyed the people and the lifestyle, I didn't want to swing, but I wanted to stay connected to the people. So I thought, I'm going to go to Vegas. And I told him, I'm going to Vegas. He's like, you're what? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go to this lifestyle thing. And he's like, why don't you see if you can get your money back and let's go to Mexico. Let's go. And I'm like, we're not going to, I don't know if that's a good idea. And Swinger Diaries, they were telling us, oh, you guys got to go. You got to go. It's magical. It's, heaven on earth. You have to go. So finally I'm like, all right, let's go. So I canceled my trip to Vegas and we went to Desire. And the moment we walked in, it was like, oh, wow, there's just like an energy in the air. And there's something there that bonds you. I don't know if it's the sand, the alcohol, the suntan lotion, but there's a special aura about that place, and it's a magical place. It really is. And the moment we got there and how nice the people were and just so complimenting, and just they make you, and the staff, they make you feel like there's nothing in the world, there's nothing better. And at that time and place and moment is exactly what I needed to fix what was wrong with us. And I can't explain it, but I don't know, maybe it's, special swinger voodoo, but
it's the water down there.
It's the water. Exactly. It's the water. And I can tell you, listening to all these podcasts and all the people that's ever gone there, you come back a different person.
Yeah.
You come back stronger and happier, and the love there is it oozes love.
Yeah.
And all of that combined, you can't come home and say we're getting a divorce. Not from after that. There's no way.
Right.
And it just was like, it was magic, sparks, woo, all the things you hear, in romance movies. It happened, and we came home and it was like, wow, we're going to be okay, because somebody there says it's going to be okay.
Right. So what did the progression look like when you guys got home, and the journey from there? How did it look?
We became inseparable. We just started, we started going to concert. We went to every concert we could get tickets for. And we started venturing out and going to any and all lifestyle parties that were happening. And instead of me standing up against the wall, judging people and being afraid, I came home and I'm like, they're like, who are you? Because you are like out of control. I was the queen of the dance floor. I was the only one there. I didn't know if there was anybody else watching, but it was just me and it was him. And we started making friends.
Yeah.
A lot of friends. They're like, you guys are fun. What, you're not the same couple where you used to sit over there and just not get up and dance. And I would just mingle and talk with everybody, give everybody hugs. And because I was happy. Something that was broken got fixed.
Yeah.
And it was pretty damn awesome.
Yeah. It's almost like you, first of all, like gained a lot more, your relationship to each other, gained a lot more trust in each other during that trip, mm-hmm. but also you personally gained a lot more confidence and happiness in that trip, which obviously
it carries over into your relationship.
Yeah, into your relationship, into your life.
We had a couple of good play experiences on that first trip to Desire. And it had been, like we'd said, there had been a lot of drama and jealousy and everything involving the lifestyle leading up to that. And of course, with our separation that, we had an amazing week there. We had a couple of really good, sexy, erotic play experiences together. And that was really, I think, kind of the stepping stone to like, hey, this is possible. We can have a great sexual experience with other people and not have it end horribly with yelling and screaming and a fight on the way home. We can go back and have some more sex in our room, or we can go and order some room service or whatever and sit around and talk about what just happened and how sexy it was. And that fact that we could have those experiences and not have it end with a bunch of drama, that was really the big thing that helped us go forward from there,
So when you guys came home, did you get back into the lifestyle locally and start building on that? And
yeah, we became like, we were those people. Here comes Mr. and Mrs. Party. Because when we walked in the door, we made our presence known. I was already, a few cocktails in, and I just got loud, and people were like, I'm there to have fun. Yeah. And all those people that were like me, sitting there, standing there, up against the wall, being afraid to come off the wall like a high school dance, that was not acceptable to me. And to this day, it's still not acceptable to me because I go get them.
Yeah.
Right.
What? Are you broken? I can't dance. Tonight you can dance. And I make them come off the wall. I don't care if they're moving back and forth, but I want them to know it's okay. We don't bite. You're going home with your significant other. I don't want anybody to walk in the shoes that I walked in because it freaking sucked. And I will do anything in my power to help anybody not be the drama couple.
Right.
Or have to not have anybody to talk to because they don't understand the feelings that they're having.
Yeah.
So I'll do whatever it takes. And if it doesn't work, at least I can say I tried.
Yeah.
When we started, we didn't have anybody. There was nobody that I could call and say, "Oh my God, this is happening." Now, it's crazy. But I never want anybody to walk in my shoes. Never ever.
No, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I mean, it's really cool that you took your experiences and have decided that you're not going to let that happen to anybody else. At least not if you can help it.
No, they call me Mama D. They do. I'm just the mom. I'm the mother hen. I'm always wanting to make sure everybody's okay.
Yeah.
Right. So when you guys started this, did you guys lay out, like I know a lot of couples, they lay out all of these ground rules and we can do this, but we can't do that. Did you guys do that at the beginning? And since then, have those rules morphed?
Yeah,
we laid out a whole bunch of rules. And, what was acceptable and not acceptable. And we found that more often than not, you get into the moment in the heat of battle and things just, things tend to go out the window. And it was really, we tell people, if we're holding a newbie seminar or something, we tell them, hey, if you lay out ground rules before an experience, you have to stick to those. Don't renegotiate in the middle of having sex with a couple.
Yeah.
Stick to your ground rules, and then afterwards you can talk about your experience and renegotiate. You talk, if you want to change things. But I was. I wasn't very good at taking my own advice, I guess, and so pretty much what it came down to for us is as we got more secure, a lot of the rules that we started out with, and gosh, I can't even think what a lot of the rules were in the beginning. But
remember when our first date, we were like, no kissing? What the hell is that? That is so stupid.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
That lasted a whole one date. So that didn't go over well, and
that just feels it's so hard not to kiss. Like that's the first thing you do. You're like, and then if you go in to kiss, and then you're like, oh wait, I can't do that, and then it's just not. That doesn't
awkward.
Like my dick is like, what are you even doing right now? Like, you're so confused. It's
And then it was we had we could only finish together. Remember that one? Because we can control orgasms because we're that magical, right? There was that one.
Over the years, they pretty much have come down to now that, we just always use protection. And, we tell usually beforehand, if somebody mentions that, hey, don't try and stick anything in her ass, okay? Because she's like that. But, but pretty much just, now the only rules really are just make sure that you're safe and use protection. And other than that, we're pretty much open to whatever, just... Right. Play it by ear. And if we're doing something that you don't like, we'll tell you. And,
communicate.
On the lines of protection, do you guys, how do you guys handle like the conversations around safer sex, or not safer sex, sorry, safer sex, but also getting tested and, having that discussion's not always easy, it's not always sexy, and do you guys do anything to promote that at your parties, or just between the 2 of you, or the 4 of you, or the 12 of you, or however many there are in the room at the moment?
Well, yes.
I mean, obviously we provide, usually all of our parties are BYOC, so we tell everybody make sure you bring your own condoms. We always put some out and just to try and promote safety, and we usually keep out gloves and lube and condoms and whatever, anything that you need to make sure it's a safe and clean environment, and that but as far as testing and stuff goes, to be honest with you, it's a conversation that it doesn't come up as often as it should. Yeah. We found that it's very, very rare for a couple that would, before we would play, somebody, and it like I said, it should come up more than it does. It should, as a responsible swinger, we should talk about it more than we do. Right. But it just seems like you get partying and having fun, and you start drinking, and and it's like you forget to say, hey, have you guys been tested? Do you know any recent partners or anything? Has anything come up that we should know about? Anything like that. But it's definitely a conversation that should happen more than it does. And regular testing, I try to tell people that are new, like every 6 months, unless there's some kind of a symptom that would come up, you should still get a checkup and just, get a test. And
but sure generally, you find people in the lifestyle are more cautious about their health.
Yes.
We have a women's, just a women's only thing, and they'll we'll put it out on the line. Time to go get tested, or we had one girl filmed hers.
Wow.
You couldn't see them doing it because she's like, we need to make sure that we promote safety, and at the end of the day, all the kissing that we do, we're more likely to catch the damn flu versus an STD, honestly, because swingers are so cautious about practicing safe sex and getting these 2 to 3 quarterly, these checkups. Yeah. So I think that's part of the reason why it just doesn't get brought up as much as we think it should. It's because we're already doing it, and we're assuming everyone else is doing it.
You do it, and you try to take responsibility for yourself, and I think it's a very awkward conversation, right? So
yeah, it is.
It's hard to bring it up to other people and to be like, hey, so, is your shit clean? And have you, lately, what have you gotten your stuff checked out? And, right before you're about to go have sex with them. It's a tough one to get through. I think it's a good conversation to have if it's a prospective couple that you're thinking about playing with, a week before, a month before, whatever, not like maybe right before you're about to play, because it's just, like I said, it's not very sexy,
Yeah, it's tough. It's definitely not easy, but it definitely puts people's minds at ease knowing going into a situation that the people are at least thinking about it. It
makes the playtime easier, at least in our experience, if we have that communication of some sort with the other couple. But like Dee said, in our experience as well, couples in the swinging lifestyle tend to be a little bit more attuned to their bodies and taking care of themselves and making sure they're playing safe and getting checkups. A lot of times, I think people, I don't know for sure, but other people that aren't necessarily in the swinging lifestyle, that doesn't come up as much, I wouldn't think. So.
Unless they have a reason to.
Right. Yeah, unless some kind of a symptom or something would occur.
Yeah.
We get a lot of questions from a lot of newbies and stuff about oral sex and barriers, and do you use a condom for a blowjob, and do we use dental dams for for cunnilingus and stuff like that, and I'll tell them, look, I'll be honest with you, we never have. We've never used dental dams. When I went down on another woman, it's something that's never happened. We've seen right, and we've seen some people using oral barriers in the lifestyle. And we absolutely tell it, we're like, that is a great idea. You should, if you're worried about it, you should absolutely do that. And that'll help you keep your mind at ease. And, but then usually the next words out of my mouth are that in this lifestyle, if you're going to do this, there is a certain amount of unavoidable risk that you assume. It's just part of the deal. So you have to decide for yourself. Everybody has to decide for themselves. What is the acceptable amount of risk that that we are as a couple, we're willing to take in this lifestyle, right?
Yeah. Right. And if that risk, if you would feel better, like you said, about using condoms and dental dams or saran wrap for oral sex, then please go ahead and do it. And I don't think you would if you were with another couple that wouldn't respect that boundary, then obviously that's not the right couple for you guys to play with.
That's right.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. I mean, beforehand, that conversation, definitely the rule conversation definitely has to happen beforehand. Right.
Right.
And so that, you know, if that's a rule that they say, hey, before we go down on each other, we need to have oral barriers. And, you know, if that's not cool, then yeah, that's definitely not the right couple.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just going to real quick plug a reference to, and I don't know which episode it is, but I'll put it in the show notes, a Life on the Swing Set episode that was pretty recent where they went really in-depth into oral barriers and which ones to use, which ones not to use, the ones they've tested. So I'll put that in the show notes because if there's people listening that they're like, oh, I haven't thought of that, I want to do it, it's a really good resource. They do a pretty in-depth discussion on it. So I'll put that in the notes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And the other thing I wanted to just quickly mention is that I know sometimes getting tested at your doctor's is not always the most fun. And there's a website that we found that we've used and love that you can go and just make an account online and then go get your blood, give your blood and urine sample, and they do it all without having to go and actually tell your primary care physician.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So,
oh, that's great. I get a lecture from my doctor every time.
Yeah.
She always asks me, she's like, so how many partners have you had? And I'm like, well, since the last time I was tested, I don't know, 6 or something, you know, or whatever it may be. And, you know, to be honest with you, usually it's more like 1.
Because we're so busy.
2 or 1, you know,
right?
like the numbers aren't what they used to be, I'll tell you that. But, you know, even when I say it was 5, 6 or whatever, and she just gives me that look, you know, and she's like, you need to, you know, be with one person and you need to stay monogamous, you know, and you need to, and she will actually tell me that. She'll actually say, you know, if you're worried about catching something, you need to just be in a monogamous relationship. That's the only way you're going to be safe, to know you're not, you know.
We went through the same thing and we found this website and it's STD Test Express for anybody who's interested in it. It's awesome. You just go to like LabCorp or Quest and get your blood drawn, and you can like make an appointment for that day, and you usually have your results the next day online. It's super fast.
Yeah, and if you do need to talk to a doctor afterwards, if something, talk to a doctor. Well, and they give you recommendations if something does come back abnormal.
So
absolutely, I'd like to get the information for that so we can share that with everybody, and you know.
Absolutely, it'll be in the show notes.
Yeah,
just like everything else.
Right.
We'll send it over. We'll send it over to you.
And we'll send you guys the link too. So. I was curious for Ray, have you experienced any of the jealousy that Dee experienced, or have you been pretty much?
You know, I've had maybe small twinges of jealousy, but never anything, you know, to the magnitude that she had. But it's been kind of a lopsided, especially in the beginning when we were having those kind of jealousy issues. I guess I was kind of the one pushing the action, you know, so I was like, hey, let's do this. Let's, you know, we go here, and trying to kind of push some of the playtime and some of the, so as the person who was kind of, you know, initiating that, I suppose I'm less prone to jealousy as opposed to the person who is looking at it from over here going, I don't know. And, you know, so I suppose I kind of put her in the position to be the jealous one a lot of the time in the beginning. And that's probably why we ended up, you know, where we did.
Right.
Because that's not a good position to put your partner in, obviously.
Sure. Right.
Sure.
So, you know, not too much.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been pretty... also because, like she said, her biggest fear was always that somebody was going to take me away, right? That I was going to fuck some hot young girl, and then all of a sudden I was going to be in love with her, and that was it. And, I was going to be gone, you know. With her, I've never doubted for even half a second that she completely loves me, and that I've never worried at all that she would, you know, fuck some other guy, and then all of a sudden she was just going to be like, you know what, I don't need you anymore. Like, it's just never even crossed my mind. Like, I know that she loves me and that, that she's not going anywhere, no matter what. You know?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it is easier as the person who brought it up, but I don't think it's unheard of too, where somebody would bring it up and then they'd get into it and try it and be like, well, holy shit, I did not expect this to pop up out of the blue. So I was curious if that had happened, but congratulations that it hasn't.
Well, you know, not yet.
Not yet. That's right.
You know, there's always a first time for everything.
Right?
Sam Elliott hasn't come to one of our parties yet.
So that'll be the game changer.
You know, everybody, I think, controls their emotions differently. You know, and as Dee, she wears her emotions out on her sleeve, and she's very, you know, if there's something wrong, like you're gonna know it. She's gonna tell. And I tend to be much more controlled, and you know, if I'm feeling something like that, I take a step back, and I'm like, okay. Immediately, I do like a self-analyzing thing, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Why am I feeling this way? Do I need to stop this? Is this something that's going to be okay? Do I need, you know? And so I guess rather than letting myself blow up, I'm just kind of that person where I don't know if I haven't lost my temper. I can't even remember the last time, because I just kind of always start to immediately analyze what's going on and try and, you know, fix it.
I was curious, so have you guys come across any experiences or any times where one of you started to have feelings for somebody else, or have you guys pretty much, it hasn't been an issue? And I guess along those same lines, do you typically do the one night stand type thing, or are you like, we want to meet friends and make those friends with benefits so we can see them over and over again? And
well, being in the industry that we're in, it's what do they call it? Social swinging.
Mm-hmm.
Our net group, our real close, tight knit group. We're probably talking 500-600 people. We know a lot of people by name, just rapid fire. So it's a lot of social swinging.
Yeah.
Okay.
And which is great. Which is awesome. But to be emotionally getting attached to anyone, like he said, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I cry a lot. I cry just about every day over something. It could be the Hallmark commercial on TV. But where it comes getting attached, I have become attached to all of our members, but not in that I love you, what you were thinking. I don't understand the poly lifestyle. I just don't know. I have so much love in my heart for everyone, but he's the only one that I could possibly give my whole self to. So you can answer yours. So.
Well, we you know, one of the things that's a question we get asked a lot when we give a newbie seminar or something is how do you deal with how do you keep yourself from catching feels for someone, you know? And in the beginning, I should say more specifically, I decided to kind of dabble in the poly lifestyle a little bit, and we met a couple. They were great. We became wonderful friends with them. I really got close to them. And, you know, along the road, we decided, hey, we're going to give this whole poly thing a shot. And I developed feelings for her and, you know, in a non-sexual way, him. You know, he was my best friend and so on and so forth. And, you know, that contributed to our relationship falling apart. And so I always tell people that are new to the lifestyle that swinging and poly are two very different things. They're not the same thing. And if you want to protect your relationship and you're afraid that your partner is going to, you know, fall in love with someone else or they're going to get emotionally involved, then you need to have some pretty clear rules about what's acceptable and what's not. And I tell them that communication is that the sex isn't going, just be having sex with someone, that's not going to make you fall in love with them, right? When you go out to a party, and I said it's communication that you fall in love with. You fall in love with someone's mind and their you know, their intellect and their humor and their so if you're worried about falling in love with someone, I tell people then you can limit contact, right? With couples that you play with, you can limit how often you play, on how if the opposite sex of each couple is allowed to privately communicate with each other.
Yeah.
That's a big one for us.
Yeah.
We don't for us, it's fine for her to communicate with whoever because I trust her completely. It's not an issue. I really limit my communication with the opposite sex of other couples, especially if they're a couple that we play with, just for that reason specifically, because it can, sometimes that line can get a little gray where you're having sex with someone, especially if it's on a regular basis, especially if it's like a partner that you're playing with fairly regularly, and now you're talking to each other all night at work and you're texting and laughing, and especially if it's a private conversation, sometimes it's hard to see where it crosses that line, you know, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I think I'm starting to feel something for this person. Right. So that's a good way that we practice a lot, or I do anyway, is I limit contact with the opposite sex of any play couples usually that we
Yeah, a couple of things on that. One is I wanted to just make clear too that they are very different, but there are people who manage to do both at the same time, which is very fascinating to us, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it is fascinating.
And the other one was something that you said that I think is super important that's come up a few times is you have rules for you and you have sort of rules for her, and they don't necessarily have to be the same rules. So I think that was really kind of nice that you're like, hey, she can talk to whoever she wants. I've decided to self-regulate and not do this just to spare her feelings, but you didn't say, well, if I'm not going to do it, you can't do it. So I think that's really enlightened of you that you don't have to like impose your rules upon her. Just, you know, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, well, it shows that within each couple, you're still your own person.
Yeah. And
you can work out rules for each other, but somebody might be in a different place than the other person, and that's totally okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when it comes to her, like I said, I've just always trusted her completely. And so after the whole poly experiment with us in the beginning, there was a huge break in trust there. And you know what they say about trust is that it's very easy to gain, almost impossible to get back once it's broken. Yeah. And so, you know, we worked a very long time and to get that trust back. And that's not something that I'm really ever willing to put on the line or risk again for any lifestyle, for anything. So, like you said, it's just something that I self-regulate because, like I said, it can get into a gray area kind of quickly and without even realizing it. So it's something you have to be careful of and constantly be aware of, you know.
Yeah. Right. Along the same lines, I think you said about the texting thing. I know that in our experience, a lot of the couples we talk to, we do a group chat, and a lot of people do that. But I think it's respectful of certain couples too, that if you're gonna want to talk with the opposite sex or one-on-one with one of the other people in the other couple, it's good to ask that of that other couple because you don't know what their rules are. Mm-hmm. And I think before you just take off and start texting one of them, you know, I think it's just respectful to be like, hey, do you mind if I leave this group chat and say something else? Or I don't know. I think that in our experience, that's nice to do.
I completely agree. I think I look at it just like anything else in the lifestyle. If we were at a party and I wanted to kiss you or touch you, or I would ask permission. Is it okay if I were to kiss you? I think it's just like that. Especially I'd say even more important than that, because now you're dealing with emotions and with a potential for there to be a lot of drama. So I think that asking permission is absolutely the correct way to go.
Yeah. I wanted to ask one question. I know it sounds like the, swinging lifestyle has given a lot to your relationship. But there's also been challenges as well. Do you foresee any chance in the future of stopping all of it and closing it back off?
For me, I'll tell you the answer is no. I just can't see not being part of this lifestyle anymore. It's ingrained in our entire lives now. All of our friends, we don't even have vanilla friends. I mean, it's just not even fun to hang out with a lot of vanilla people anymore. So it's really our lifestyle is almost our lives are kind of centered around the lifestyle for the most part anymore. It's like you go out to a bar with a vanilla couple and you sit there all night and you drink and talk and then just go home. And I'm like, how do you go back to that now? Like, I'm walking out the door and I'd be going, wait a minute, what's going on? We're not gonna we don't
go
flirt
to bars
or kiss. We're not gonna fuck. We're not gonna do any. Like, we just talk and then go home. That's so basic. What are we doing?
And not talk about anything personal either. I feel like
right. Isn't that the great thing about people in the lifestyle though? Is you become close friends immediately almost, because there's almost nothing that's off the table to talk about. Everything's open, It's like, what have you got to hide from someone when you're naked when you meet them? You know?
Well, we get asked that a lot. If we're done with Euphoria, would we be done with the lifestyle? And it's like, no. People, they'll leave it, and all you do is you think about all the sexy times and all the sexy people and everything, and it's always in the back of your mind. And I don't think, once you're in it, I don't know how people quit it and stay away, because we couldn't. We just, oh my God, it would be just, it's
tough, especially if you've had good experiences. You know, if it was all crap and all you ever had was trouble and drama, then it's fine, you can quit it. But once you've had good experiences and seen what it can be, it's very tough to just not want that.
And so, you know, now I hear when all, like you podcasters, you get emails from people saying, you know, how do I get my wife into this? And my heart almost breaks for them, because it's like, they really are missing out on some of the most amazing times in their lives. And it's like, we only got one chance at this life, you know, just try it. You know, it's just, I don't know. I can't imagine where we would be today without it. I don't think we would be together. I think he would have had to go out and
soil my oats.
And soil his oats. Some more oats.
and soil his otes. Yes.
Crap on my oats.
Crap on his oats without me. And you know, and I just, you know, I'm so glad we're doing this together. You know? And you know, I'm up for just you know, he gets me into some crazy shit, man. But you know, I'm along for the ride, you know. And there are times I, you know, drag him along for the ride. You know, this trip to Naughty in New Orleans I've been wanting nothing more. And finally, it's like, I'm going. He has no clue what he's in store for.
I wanted to know, you seem pretty public about your lives. Are you out to your family members? And I know you said you don't really have vanilla friends anymore. So do people know?
It's not something that we really actively hide, but it's not something we advertise either.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean,
go with your family.
I'm not. Yeah, to my family, I mean, I have suspicions that some of them do know. I'm sure they do know.
Your mom, I know she knows.
But it's not. No, I don't like go tell my family. It's not. It's one of those things that, you know, I just don't feel like it's any of their business.
Right.
You know, so I'm, like I said, I'm not ashamed of it, and you know, if people find out, I don't really care.
Yeah, or if they flat out asked you, you would tell them.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I stopped caring what other people think a long time ago. So, you know, if people don't like it, that's it. But like I said, most of the people we meet and know are in the lifestyle, so it's not really ever been an issue.
Yeah.
As for me, I didn't have to. I chose to tell my family. One day when he was in Detroit picking up DJ equipment and I was at work, we had a water main pipe break in our upstairs bathroom, and it ran down the walls and it flooded our sex dungeon. And my 2 teenage kids were home. And I had to tell them to go down there, which they never had gone to the basement. They thought it was a workstation, to turn the water off. And when they went down there, they found the whole 50 Shades room. And by the time I got home, they had to call the neighbor lady over to turn the water off. And she was like, "Hey, Dee, nice basement." So at that point, we knew the whole neighborhood. It was like, Dee and Ray are freaks. And they were like, "Mom, what is going on down there?" And as we're cleaning, I just told them, tomorrow I'm going to have your sister and your brothers come over and we'll just talk about it. But I mean, by the time I got home, the ceiling had caved in, the microwave was sparking. We had a mess.
Right.
So the next day, when my kids came over, my 3 sons came to get my 4 oldest kids, they live out on their own, and they came home. When I told my sons, we drove over an hour for you to tell us that you're a freak. They're like, "Mom, we already knew this." They just kind of, I think they understood, but they didn't. And they went about there and they're like, "We're leaving." And my daughter proceeded to pretty much tell us that they have been playing cards. What they were doing was parallel play and soft swap, but didn't know there was a lifestyle for it.
Okay.
So that apple does not fall far from the tree.
And she's a teenager?
No, she's married.
Okay, now.
she's in her 20s, and at our real big events, Halloween, New Year's, my son-in-law and my daughter work the door for us. And they've had other couples that have hit on them at our parties, and she's like, before you go any further, I need to tell you who my parents are. And then they're like, oh God, no, you're like off limits. No, you're Dee's daughter. What is wrong with this situation? But everybody that comes, they know this story that, you know, my kids know, and I've told all of my sisters, and they're like, we've always known that you were the black sheep of the family. And then they laugh, but they're like, you've always lived life to the fullest. We would not expect anything different.
Yeah.
And so they make little jokes and, you know, always elbowing me, and I'll elbow them back, and then I'm always messing with them, but you know, they're like, they don't care.
Yeah.
And it's because of these damn cell phones and social media. You can't get away from sex.
Yeah.
So they weren't as surprised as I thought they were going to be. It's because it's so out there now. Sex is so mainstream.
That's one of the things that especially talking to teenagers and stuff, you know, like you said, we have a couple of teenagers now. You know, we're in an era we're in the Me Too era now, right? It's women, and we're empowering women, putting them on an equal platform with men in every aspect, hopefully. You know, something got brought up the other day about slut shaming and how it's okay for boys to, you know, be having sex with people, and it's a great thing for them, not okay for girls. And you know, that kind of plays into the conversation, especially about the lifestyle, is how the lifestyle empowers women to, you know, to take possession of their own sexuality and be able to explore their fantasies and do the things that they want to do without having to be ashamed of it and feel like they're being judged by society.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I couldn't agree with that more.
Yeah, I don't know that. Yeah, you said it pretty much perfect. So, well, we're sorry your basement flooded, but it sounds like it's a pretty cool result.
It's okay. We were able to save everything.
Good.
Except for my Christmas decorations.
I guess I'd rather save the sex toys.
Oh, thank God, right? It was a mess. That's for damn sure.
Well, one of the last things we usually ask people is if they could share a few resources. I know you mentioned some other podcasts. Are there any resources, podcasts, or books, or anything that you guys have found useful for you guys before we wrap things up?
Oh my goodness. I don't want to leave out any of the podcasts because they all have, I want to promote all the podcasts because every podcast has a story, has a lesson, you know, so I don't want to pick out like my favorites, but obviously, you know, By the Bias Third. By the Bias Third. And I'm going to get,
Sure. You get different stories on all of them. I love the stories, you know, it's always good to hear everybody's got funny stories. If you've been in the lifestyle long enough, you've got lifestyle bloopers. That's
funny and awkward situations.
So, real quick, then, what's the funniest thing that you guys have had happen to you?
Oh God, which story?
Well, I know what it is for me. It's getting naked in a closet.
Oh my God, yeah, with Swinger Diaries in Cleveland.
Yeah. We were having some playtime with a couple, and
I just said it was Paige and Penn.
Okay, well, you know, we want to name drop anyway. But anyway, we were having fun, and Dee and Paige were having a good time, and for whatever reason, you know, nervousness and God's honest truth, I wasn't really feeling that great either. And things weren't working for me. I just couldn't get a hard on. I was like 26 or 27 years old at this time, and usually like a stiff wind made me hard, you know? And so all of a sudden we're at a club, and this is one of our first experiences very early on, and all of a sudden I'm not getting hard. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm panicking, and I'm like starting to sweat really bad. And I'm so, you know, I got really embarrassed. And so I was like, I have to go to the restroom, you know, I'm not feeling good. I gotta go. And so I left the room, but I just left naked and like went down the hallway to the locker room, and there's a little closet in there, like a dressing room. And I go in, and there's like a little bench and a mirror in there, and it's just a tiny little closet. And I'm sitting on this bench, and I'm kind of having a pep talk with myself, you know, and I'm like, hey dude, what's going on? You know, let's get things together here. What's happening right now? And all of a sudden a bunch of people start coming in, and they're getting dressed in the locker room, and they're all in there talking and they talk for like 5-10 minutes, and then some other people are coming in, and I'm sitting naked on a little bench in a closet, and there's no lock on the door. It's just like a regular door handle, and so I'm like holding the door handle with my hand because I was terrified that somebody was just going to open the door like to get into this little changing room, and I'm just going to be sitting there butt ass naked and just like wave at them, like, hey, what's up, guys?
But you were at a lifestyle club, so I mean, it wouldn't have surprised them too much.
I guess no. I mean, it just would have. It would seem weird, I suppose, even at a lifestyle club. But needless to say, after about 20 minutes, the locker room cleared out. I went back to the room, and they were all gone. And my clothes were gone. Everything was gone. And so I didn't know where they were. And I went walking around this whole club for probably another 15 minutes, out on the dance floor, out in the bar area, by the pool tables, through the playrooms, butt-ass naked, everywhere, trying to find them. And finally I find them, and she's like, what the hell happened to you? And throws my clothes at me. And, she's mad because I disappeared. And I'm like, it's like this traumatic situation for me here. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Now, after everything else that's happened, she's upset. And we're going to have to argue about this on the way home. Like, you don't understand what just happened to me. You need to back up for a minute here.
But there was redemption in March.
Yes, there was.
There was redemption in March when we got to have our big orgy on the beach.
Yes. Well, luckily, Paige and Penn have turned out to be some of our closest friends in the lifestyle. And we've had plenty of opportunities to play with them since, which have gone much better.
Much better.
Excellent.
I like picturing you butt-ass naked in the locker room, like, oh my gosh, like, what are people doing? Who's going to open this door?
Yeah, seriously, you can picture a grown-ass man sitting there naked with his legs crossed, like holding onto a doorknob like this, and just terrified, like, oh my God. How am I going to explain this when some guy opens the door? And here I sit.
I feel like that may be the perfect place to end it, because I think that's a good way. That's a good image for people to leave in their head.
Naked men in a closet.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a good sexy image of me for everyone to keep burned into their minds.
Excellent. So, thank you guys again for taking your Friday evening to chat with us and for talking a little bit about Pendulum, and thanks for putting together an awesome party. That's something that we really like to promote here. And
just thanks for creating that your club in general, and all your parties that you've thrown. I think you've obviously found a niche in your area, and a lot of people, sounds like they love it. So I just thank you for supporting the community and doing that. And and the pendulum party sounds amazing.
Yeah, and congrats on all the success.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, guys. It's our pleasure.
Yeah.
And
it's just our way of paying it forward, I guess.
Absolutely. Well, and we'll put all the information in the show notes, and we will hopefully keep in touch with you guys, because you guys seem like a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
So
great talking to you guys.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night. Hello, we're back. Since nobody ever listens this long, that we can.
I think people do.
I think they turn it off right when they hear the music start.
Oh, maybe.
Anyway, we're back. One quick reminder, the dates for that party that you're definitely going to want to check out, the Pendulum Party, July 15th, 2018. So if you didn't listen to this episode promptly, tough titties. You missed out.
Well, maybe they'll throw another one. You never know.
Yeah, 2.0.
2.0. Well, no, that's
1.1.
1.1, maybe.
1.
They can also go listen to the Buy episodes on the Pendulum Party.
Or fly to Sydney and go to the Pendulum Parties.
There's lots of options.
Yep. So we'll stop rambling, but we wanted to just quickly plug next week's episode, which is a very fun interview with some fellow podcasters, Chris and Karen from Swinging Along. So we will be back in a week with their interview.
Bye, everyone.